There will be men who want you, but more importantly is for you to receive the man who values you. And when he's emotionally attracted to you, that value will be there. So I'm gonna lay out for you the 7 signs that he's emotionally attracted to you. My name is Stefan Labossiere, AKA Stefan Speaks, back with another dating and relationship advice video for women. Again, I'll be explaining today the 7 signs he's emotionally attracted to you. As always, before we begin, please like the video, share it, subscribe to this channel, and comment below. Let me know what you think. What are some signs you feel are there? So now, it's important to understand that, again, there's going to be a lot of guys that come across you who desire you. Maybe they desire you sexually. You know, they might want to entertain you, but they're not truly emotionally invested in you because they're not drawn to you in that way. Now, please understand, that's not necessarily a knock on you because we're just not everyone's cup of tea, the same way everyone's not your cup of tea. But it's important for you to start to recognize the difference, because it's in that you'll be able to see much more clearer if someone is serious about you, if someone's trying to build a relationship with you. I've seen a lot of women get caught up with men because they're showing them attention, but attention doesn't equal respect. Attention doesn't equal value, all right? Attention doesn't equal seriousness. So we've got to differentiate those things so that you don't get caught up with the wrong individual. So again, to make it clear or more clear, being emotionally attracted to you is about being more emotionally invested, is about enjoying the non-physical attributes of who you are, all right? And not just you look good to them or have a nice body or whatever the case may be. So it's about connecting on a deeper emotional level, and I want you to know what to look for. So let's get to it. Sign number 1 that he's emotionally attracted to you. He compliments your non-physical attributes, all right? So I know some of you have experienced this, where you'll meet a guy, and maybe the first time you met him, let's say it was on the internet, all right, he may talk about how beautiful you are. And that's fine. It's understandable because, well, all he was able to see was your beauty. He hasn't had a chance to engage with you yet, so we can't knock him for that. However, let's say you decide to exchange numbers, you start talking, maybe your days in, weeks in, whatever, and you notice the compliments still remain at the surface. How beautiful you are, how nice of a butt you have. I don't know why I said butt, but it happens, right? Your lips, whatever, everything is physical, but he never really celebrates your non-physical attributes. That's a problem, because the guy who is emotionally attracted to you is going to mention and highlight the non-physical. Maybe it's, oh my gosh, you have such a great sense of humor. Maybe it's, I love your personality. Maybe it's, you're so easy to talk to. Whatever, he's going to be able to compliment you on those other things. Now, if we're talking about a man who struggles to give compliments at all, that's a different issue to discuss, all right? But I'm talking about the guy who's clearly able to compliment you, but his compliments always stay on the physical. That is a warning sign, and you have to be mindful of that. But when that guy is engaging in compliments with the non-physical, now you know he's a lot more emotionally invested, and you want to embrace that. And of course, be willing to return the compliment, because listen, some of you guys, you may be loving to receive these things, but you got to be willing to give them. And there's a lot of men who don't get the compliments from the women. Now, don't force it just because he gave you a compliment, but if you do enjoy his personality as he does yours, then be willing to say it. But his willingness to compliment the non-physical is definitely a great sign that he's emotionally attracted to you. The second sign, well, actually, before we get to the second sign, let me mention it real quick. Get your copy, The Man God Has for You. Women everywhere are calling this book a blessing to read. Click the link in the description or in the comments section. It's a best-selling book. I'm not just saying that. It has thousands of reviews on Amazon all over the place. You're going to love it. But let's get to number 2. And number 2 is you guys are able to talk for hours. So here's the thing that I've noticed, or the difference I've noticed between the emotionally invested couples and the non-emotionally invested. The emotionally invested can talk to each other, can hang around each other, even when it's not about sex and other things. they're able to enjoy each other's company. However, the non-emotionally invested, they always have ways to kind of limit that or limit the exposure of that issue. So those two individuals may be busy couples who the only time they get to see each other, there's not as much time to talk, or they don't take as much time to talk because they're jumping right into just whether it be having sex, whether it be just having some different types of fun, going out, but they're not actually interacting with each other, at least not verbally, all right? And so your ability or his willingness to talk to you for hours, especially when it flows so seamlessly, this is a great sign that yes, he's emotionally attracted, because the reality is most men don't like to talk like that. You know what? Let me take that back. I don't want to say most men, even though I feel kind of confident saying most men. We're just going to say a lot of men. A lot of men aren't trying to spend a whole lot of time talking, all right? And so when he can do that with you, when he embraces that with you, that shows, again, emotional investment. That shows that he's drawn to you in that way, as well as some other great signs that I'm going to mention later on this list. But it's important to recognize that now, if you are trying to see if this dynamic exists between you and this man, you've got to create opportunities to have these long discussions. Because unfortunately, the mistake so many are making is relying heavily on text messaging. Relying heavily on communicating through DMs. I've seen people where they've talked more through their DM, all right, direct messaging, for those of you who may not know what that is, all right, but have spoken less on the phone. That's a problem. Now, I'm not saying you cannot text at all. I'm not saying you can't use your messengers at all. I'm saying you need to make sure that it's time for verbal communication, all right? And I would argue you want to do that by phone, simply because I'm not saying you shouldn't be trying to talk in person, but it's very easy that if there's a high level of attraction, that once we get together, the conversations may not go as in depth, because again, we may be quick to get intimate. We may want to watch a show together. There are other distractions that can come about, at least early on. So it's good that you establish making time to talk on the phone. Now, if you have a busy schedule, or maybe he does, let's carve out some time. Let's pick a day and say, hey, let's talk. I'm just thinking off the top of my head, Sunday night, you're free, let's talk. It doesn't mean we have to plan to talk for 2 hours, but let's plan to talk by phone and see how it goes. And see if we even enjoy each other like that, and if we're able to dive into each other. But again, so many individuals are letting the distractions of life get in the way of them seeing if they can have true communication, in-depth communication with this individual, and more importantly, extended communication. Because hell, if you can't talk to this person for hours, what are you going to do if you marry this person? What are you going to do if you get into a long-term relationship with this person? That's a clear sign of two people who can at least coexist in the long term when they're able to talk for an extended period of time. It doesn't mean, yes, we don't talk for hours forever, right? It's not going to be an everyday thing. It won't be an every week thing. But if we can't even do it at all, that's a problem. So create that opportunity to see that. But yes, your ability to talk for hours is a very good sign he's emotionally attracted to you. So now let's get to number 3 on the list. And this one is kind of a simple one, but they express they've been thinking about you. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, well, he could just say that. Doesn't mean he means it. Listen, stop being so damn skeptical, okay? I know you guys are used to dealing with players and manipulators, but let's just focus on, again, this is a man who is making a real effort. And the bottom line is his willingness to express that is typically going to be a good sign. Yes, he could be lying. I'm not going to act like that doesn't exist, all right? But we should not jump to the negative. And if you're going to make that assumption, all right, that he's just playing games or trying to make you feel good, don't do it simply based off that specific action. Evaluate the overall relationship. So it's like, okay, if you guys can't talk for hours, he doesn't compliment you on non-physical attributes, and some of the other things I will mention later in this list, but he's claiming he's always thinking about you, then it's more fair to be fishy or to be skeptical about it, because it doesn't seem consistent with other good actions or attributes in this relationship. However, if everything else is good, if he's consistent, if he's showing himself to be a man who's invested, there's no reason to think that him saying he's thinking about you is a lie. Now, getting back to the main point here is that, yes, a willingness to express that and the fact that he is thinking about you, again, shows emotional investment, shows that he is attracted to you in that way, because the reality is that not that the man who only wants to have sex won't ever think about you, but he's occupied with other things more than likely. If a man's not serious about you, he's not giving his time mentally to thinking about you and considering you in that way and all these different things. He's on to whatever else he's doing. But this guy is emotionally present, all right? And the fact that he's willing to say it, again, speaks to another sign. I know I keep pushing this down to the other signs I'm going to mention, but it shows vulnerability, and I'll get deeper into that later. So definitely embrace that. But again, you're not going to kind of give you a full outlook on this. Be willing to express it too. Like so many of you are afraid to be open and vulnerable, even when you really like the guy. And I know the concern is, well, you know, if you express your desire too much, or if you show him how much you care, they switch up on you, or, you know, now you lose your leverage or power. Stop thinking. That's a very unhealthy mindset. And those things are only true with men who are not serious about you. But if this guy is truly invested, is truly into you, is truly attracted to you emotionally, then your willingness to express you were thinking about him, all right, is only going to make him feel even better. It's only going to empower him even more to be more expressive to you. It does not work against you when he's actually the right guy. And so you got to look at your willingness and ability willingness more specifically to be vulnerable as a tool to expose the man that you're dealing with. Because if you being vulnerable, if you expressing how he's thinking about you and all these things makes him run, makes him start to act funny, makes him start to be disrespectful or stop treating you the way he was treating you, then that shows you clearly he's not it. You did yourself a favor. You weeded this man out by, I don't want to use the word exposing, by letting yourself be free and open with your emotions and your love. That's the thing. The problem is not in your expression of your emotions. The problem is in ignoring the red flags. The problem is in allowing bad behavior to go unchecked, all right? Because you've convinced yourself that you like him so much you don't want to rock the boat. These are the things that really cause a problem, not you being open and vulnerable. So yes, we want to look for his willingness to do so and his willingness to express him thinking about you, all right, and him being considerate of you, but also be willing to do the same. So now number 4, he values your opinion, all right? So this one, I'm laughing because there's already some things going on in my head when I think about this point, right? But first and foremost, yes, I believe that when the man is emotionally attracted to you, he values your opinion. Now, let me make this clear. It doesn't necessarily mean he thinks you have all the answers. It simply means that your perspective is important to him. What you think, how you feel is important to him, and he wants to consider that, all right? But one, let's start with be willing to give your opinion. And I say that because, quick story, I remember dealing with a woman many years ago, and I would ask her opinion. And she would always say, I don't know, I don't want to give you the wrong answer. And so one day I had to stop her and say, listen, stop it. If I ask you your opinion, you give me your opinion. I'm not asking for the right answers. It's not about right or wrong. It's about, I want to hear your perspective. Be open and honest, and that's it. It's all good. But don't give me, I don't know. Tell me what you think. All right? And from there, she was willing to do that. And she made that correction, all right? So some of you may be afraid to share your opinion because, again, you're afraid to give the wrong answer. There is no right or wrong. It's an opinion, That's it. It's an opinion. He understands that. He just values your perspective. On the flip side, some of you are more than ready to give your opinion, all right? And not only are you ready to give your opinion, you're expecting him to take your direction. Now, here is the problem, all right? We love to see that you have found a man who respects and values your opinion. But that does not mean he's supposed to do what you say because you said it. It does not mean you will always be right. Again, it means you are sharing your perspective, and he has a choice that he can either use it or not. And if he does not use it, it's not a knock on you. What's important is that he was willing to listen to you. When I say listen to you, hear you out. Hear what you have to say. Take in the information that you could provide. Again, it shows a level of respect and value of who you are and what you bring to the table. But that will not always equal that he will do what you actually suggested. And I've seen too many times where women have internalized this, taken offense to it, and now it becomes a problem in that situation. Don't do that. Don't do that. Let's just embrace, again, being able to talk about things, sharing an opinion. I stress opinion does not mean right or wrong. It means your perspective of things, all right? But that guy who is emotionally attracted, yes, he will want to hear it because, again, the woman that we're really into, we care what she thinks. That's the bottom line. We want to know. But also, let me add one more thing, all right? Aside from just not expecting him to take it all the time, just being happy that you can share and bounce ideas with him. But again, it's always about not what you say, it's how you say it. All right. And so you want to be mindful of expressing your opinion in a loving and positive manner, not being negative, not being overbearing, not coming off as difficult, you know what I'm saying? And again, not even intimidating in the sense that making them feel like if he doesn't do what you say, there's going to be a problem, because that will only cause him to shut down. So you have some situations where the man starts off valuing this woman's opinion, right? But now he doesn't want to go talk to her anymore, because the interaction is so uncomfortable, it makes them feel some kind of way, it just throws things off. So just be mindful of that when you have a guy who is willing to hear you out and get your opinion on things. So now let's get to number 5. And number 5, we mentioned it a little bit earlier. We're going to say it again. He enjoys your non-sexual company. Now, I think this is pretty clear what I'm getting at here. Listen, some of you, if you're being real with yourself and real with others, you know there's been plenty of times where you dealt with men, you may have liked him, he may have been quote unquote a great guy on the surface, but it seemed like the only time he wanted to hang out was when it involved getting sexually involved, all right? It was always about the intimacy. It wasn't really about anything outside of that. This is not a man who's emotionally attracted to you. This is a man who, again, who maybe is physically clearly attracted to you and caught up in that. But if we're trying to establish healthy relationships, if we're trying to make sure you move forward with the right guy, then you want to look for the man who enjoys you outside of the sexual, all right? He has to be willing and desire to hang out with you even when it doesn't have to go that route. Now, it does not mean he doesn't want it at all. Let's just keep it real. Like, he may love the hell out of you. He may be extremely emotionally attracted. He may be invested. All that, right? All that. Hell, I have to say it. He may be a man of God. That doesn't stop him from wanting you sexually. So let's not confuse that. His desire will still be there, and he may still at times make his attempts. All right? Not saying this is right or wrong. I'm just breaking this down because I do not want him simply making an attempt to be viewed as, oh, all you care about is sex. No, he's just a man and he has those desires and he's attracted to you. It's about, is he willing to hang out with you when it's not about sex? If you're unwilling to engage, is he going to act a fool, or is he going to sit there and enjoy himself with you? If you are on your cycle, so to speak, does he cancel dates? Does he cancel hanging out because it's like, oh, well, we're not going to get down anyway, so I don't want to be around you? That's a bad problem. That's a red flag, all right? But the guy who enjoys you, he's, again, emotionally attracted to you, wants to hang out anyway. He just enjoys your presence. He enjoys you. He likes kicking it with you. Again, it doesn't mean he wouldn't want sex. It just means that he can go without it because he's still got time to spend with you, and that was still a plus to him. All right. So you want to be mindful of that and look for that. And again, just to give you a way to see or expose that is, yes, maybe there's going to have to be times where you from the jump take the sex off the table. Now, we're not going to get into waiting till marriage right now and all these different things, because I don't know how you're going about your life, and we're not here to judge that. What I will say is this: if you know that you're willing to engage in sex at some point, or maybe you're watching this and you have already engaged with him physically, maybe you do have a day that you choose to say, hey, listen, let's hang out today, but if we hang out, I don't want to, get intimate today. I just want us to be able to hang out with each other. And see if he's willing to still hang out. See if he's willing to still hang out. And then what's the quality of that hangout? What's the quality of you guys spending time together when sex is not involved in that day? Because yes, some people can still easily physically bring themselves to you, right? But if the whole day, let's say you guys just watch a movie and that's it, you're not really getting to see how you guys enjoy each other without a distraction. So this is another opportunity, going back to that whole being able to talk for hours. Say, hey, you know what? Let's hang out, let's chill, let's just talk, and let's not worry about sex tonight. And let's see if you guys can have that extended conversation. That's a great way to see what you have here. So sometimes you have to be very intentional to create the opportunities that allow you to expose these things and allow you to see, okay, is what we have here rooted more in the physical or in the emotional, in the spiritual, in the things that a healthy, successful, long-term relationship is going to need as a foundation. Because if you don't have that emotional and even that spiritual, you are bound for failure. So take time and make sure you explore that dynamic with the guy that you're talking to. Now we get to number 6. And before number 6, let me do it again. Get your copy of The Man God Has For You. Again, click the link in the description or the comment section, best-selling book, or go to www.themangodhasforyou.com. So number 6 on this list, they can be vulnerable with you, all right? Or they're willing to be vulnerable with you. So the reality is that, again, when in the vast majority of situations, if not all, when a man is not emotionally into you or emotionally invested, he's not trying to go there with you. You know what I mean? Like, the idea of opening up, the idea of having deep, in-depth conversations, the idea of talking about my past or even my future dreams, all these things tend to be off limits when a guy's not really trying to emotionally invest. Bottom line, he's not trying to expose himself in that way. He's not trying to get caught up or anything like that, because he just wants to have his fun and be done. But when he's willing to be vulnerable, when he's willing to open up, talk about his dreams, his past, how he's feeling, when he's willing to be expressive, as we talked about earlier, that he's thinking about you and how much he enjoys you, all those different things, because all of that is vulnerability, that is an amazing sign. Because again, the average man is not doing that with a woman he is not really into, all right? You're going to always have your exceptions to the rule who may be master manipulators, but we got to stop always thinking it's a game that these men are playing when they do these things. The majority of men who do this are serious about you in that moment, or at least willing to go in that direction with you. Yes, things can change for various reasons, but you have to be willing to embrace what he's bringing to the table. You got to embrace that vulnerability and match it with your own. Match his energy, because when you don't, that's what sometimes throws the whole situation left. That's what can create things to switch up on you, because if I'm a man and I'm being vulnerable and I'm open, but I'm not seeing that from you, now I start to worry, okay, is she really into me? Like, okay, there are plenty of men who are serious about the woman they're dealing with right now, but the woman they're dealing with is not showing them she's serious about them, even though she may be. And that she may be you. You may be super serious about this guy, but you're super scared. And because you're super scared and you got your walls up, you're not allowing yourself to be vulnerable, and that's necessary for the growth of the relationship. But bringing it back to him, if he's willing to do that, then yes, embrace that. And it is a sign that he is emotionally attracted to you, because again, most guys are just not trying to go there with just any woman. It just doesn't work like that. So his willingness to be vulnerable, definitely a huge sign that he's emotionally attracted to you. And now last but not least, number 7 is he's willing to bring you into his world. All right, so let me break this down. Again, remember what I just said about the guy who's not serious about you. He limits the depth of conversation. He limits sharing things about himself, whether it be his past, his future, all these different things. He's not really trying to bring you into his world, because doing that can create a deeper attachment, and that's the last thing the guy who isn't serious wants to do. But the guy who is emotionally attracted to you, the guy who is emotionally invested, wants to integrate you into his world. So now what happens is he wants to bring you around family and friends. He wants you to meet his people. He wants the people that are important to him to meet the woman that's important to him. He's not going to take issue with bringing those two worlds together, because again, he's emotionally attracted and invested in you. But not just meeting friends and family, all right? Again, sharing things about himself, sharing what he does. He's integrating you in various ways. Now, this doesn't mean you don't have your own world, all right? And it doesn't mean that when we're dating and getting to know each other that we expose everything about ourselves right off the bat because, you know, we're so emotionally invested. Typically, people have a level of cautiousness, all right, with what they're doing. But you will still see a progression. Like, it's a hard argument to make that a guy is emotionally attracted and invested, yet you're seeing no progression in the integration into his world. That typically is not going to be the case, if ever, okay? So you want to pay attention to that. And I have to say it because it's just hitting me, because I sometimes hear you guys in the back of my head making your counter arguments. And so I know some of the argument will be, well, listen, I know women who met the family, still got played, who met the friends, and they were the side chick. Like, yes, I've heard all the horror stories, okay? Again, those are not the typical situation. We have to stop taking minority situations and projecting them onto the majority. The majority of the time, if he's introducing you to family and friends, he is serious about you. That's the majority, all right? And so you've got to be willing to, again, to embrace that and roll with that. But it's not just going to stop at family and friends. It's going to go into other aspects of his life. Now, again, because we have to always give you both sides to consider here. When he starts to do that, the question is, are you doing it too? All right? Again, we have to always remember that emotional investment can be scary for any human being. All right? Especially for grown adults, because grown adults typically have already had their heart broken in some way, shape, or form. And because of that, and because many people do not properly heal or fully heal, there's a level of guardedness, all right? And so to be emotionally vulnerable, to emotionally invest, can be a scary thing. Whenever someone is taking those steps, if you're trying to build a relationship with them, if you're trying to ensure the health and success of this relationship, you've got to also match that. You have to do your part in that process. So if he's integrating you, you've got to be willing to integrate him as well. And if you're not, ask yourself why. Are you maybe not too serious about him? Because this is another thing that's just hitting my spirit. Some of y'all have been told this horrible advice of find a man who loves you more than you love him. All right? So you're looking for this man to do everything. He has to be the one to be emotionally invested. He has to be the one to integrate you into his life. He has to be the one to show the value and all these different things, while you have validated in your mind, sitting back, waiting, letting him prove himself, all right? But the reality is that the whole time, you're not into him like that. because you think him loving you more is somehow going to work in your favor. Let me tell you something. If you can quantify who loves who more, you're in the wrong relationship. It's a setup for disaster every single time. No one should feel like the other loves the one or the other more. That's a horrible situation. So, and understand, if you are embracing that ideology, then you are going to subconsciously or consciously select the man you're not truly into. You're going to select the man who is essentially not at a level that can even get you to be vulnerable because you're just not into him like that. Again, recipe for disaster. So if you're unwilling to integrate him into your world, if you're unwilling to be vulnerable when he is taking those steps, then either you're just not into him or you need some deep healing. And you've got to be willing to go through that process, because if you don't, you're going to ruin the situation. You're going to lose out on an amazing man who's trying to love you because you can't get out of your own way. And I don't say that to be hurtful to you. I don't say that to make you feel bad. I say that to wake you up, because I see it so many times. There are a lot of women who have met great men who were serious about them, and they lost that great man. It doesn't mean you can't ever find love again, but just know many of them are regretting the fact that they stayed guarded up, that they sabotaged the situation because emotionally they were not ready and willing to open up and be vulnerable. So while we're looking for these signs that he's emotionally attracted to you and invested in you, please make sure that you're at a place where you can do the same, where you can give yourself in that way. Because if you can't, you're going to shoot yourself in the foot. But if you can, you're going to not only set yourself up for success, but you're going to allow yourself to expose these men a lot quicker when it comes to who's serious about you and who's truly invested into you emotionally. Hey, thank you for watching this video. Be sure to check this one out right here, and I'll see you there. Some men will be lessons, and some men will just be a waste of your time. And one man will be the man that God has for you. And I want you to know that this man does exist, but you need to learn how to recognize him